Students, so we'll continue today with distance vector. So whatever is a concept of a distance vector, it is a rationale for the name distance vector routing. A least cost tree is a combination of least cost paths from the root of the tree to all destinations. Then whatever are these paths are graphically glued together to form the tree. So how a tree is formed, all these paths are graphically glued together to form the tree. Distance vector routing unglues these paths and creates a distance vector which is a one-dimensional array to represent the tree. Okay, so we'll see the figure that shows the tree for a particular node A in the internet. Okay, internet and the corresponding distance vector So this is the distance vector for node A and the corresponding distance vector. So node A is shown and you can see how the distance vector is calculated for A. As we are starting with A, so it will be 0 entry. When we go for B, it has been shown here 2, so it will be 2. When we go for C, it has been shown 7 with respect to A, so 7. When we go for D, it has been shown 3, so we have to enter 3 in this distance vector for node A form with respect to A. So 3. E, it has been given 6, so we have to enter 6 in this vector. F is 8, G is 9. So this is how to write the distance vector for node A. Seeing this tree for a node A. Then whatever is the name of the distance vector, it defines the route. Okay, the indices define the destination. The name of the distance vector defines the route, the indices define the destination, and the value of each cell defines the least cost from the route to the destination. So whatever is the value of this each cell which has been entered here in this form, it defines the least cost from the route to the destination. Then this distance vector does not give the path to the destinations as the least cost tree does. So whatever we have seen in least cost tree, it does not give the path to destination. It gives only the least cost to the destination. It gives only the least cost to the destination. Then, okay, so if we can change a distance vector to a forwarding table, then first we need to find all distance vectors for an internet. Then whatever is at a distance vector, it can represent least cost paths in a least cost tree. But the question is how each node in an internet originally creates the corresponding vector. Each node in an internet, when it is booted, creates a very rudimentary distance vector with the minimum information the node can obtain from its neighborhood. Then the node sends some greeting messages out of its interfaces and discovers the identity of the immediate neighbors and the distance between itself and each neighbor. Then what happens is, then by inserting the discovered distances in the corresponding cells and leaves a value of other cells as infinity, thus making a simple distance vector. So you can see that. So you can see here is first distance vector. Okay, first distance vector. So this is a diagram. You can see first distance vector for all an internet. So you can see here how it is A, is 0, B is 2, C is infinity. As it is not directly connected, so it is infinity. D is shown to be 3. So enter. E not directly infinity, F infinity, G infinity. Similarly, when you go for B node, A is 2, B is 0, C is 5, D is infinity, E is 4, F is infinity, G is infinity. C, A is infinity, B is 5, C is 0, D is infinity, E is infinity, F is 4, G is 3. Okay. So we have tried for all these nodes like this. D, when we A 3, B not directly connected infinity, C not directly connected infinity, D is 0 as we are with respect to D, E 5, F infinity, G infinity. Similarly for E on A is infinity not directly, B 4, C infinity as it's not directly connected, D 5, E 0, F 2, G infinity. Similarly for F, you have tried F, A is infinity, B is infinity, C is 4, D is infinity, E is 2, F is 0 as it is with respect to F, G is 1. So G infinity infinity, C is connected directly 3, D infinity, E infinity, F1, G 0. Okay, like this you have to go on having. Then, so is it clear? Then the question arises, do these distance vectors represent least cost paths? They do, considering the limited information a node has. When we have only one distance between two nodes, it is a least cost. So whatever is a figure we have seen, all distance vector for the internet, what we have studied in the previous first module, internet structure. So these vectors are made asynchronously, then corresponding node has been booted. Existing of all of them in a figure does not mean synchronous creation of them. Then whatever are these rudimentary vectors, okay, they cannot help the internet to effectively forward a packet by these rudimentary vectors. Okay, for example, what happens is node A thinks that it is not connected to node G. See here, node A thinks that it is not connected to node G because the corresponding cell shows the least cost of infinity. So here see, as A, G is shown infinity because it feels that the cell shows the least cost of infinity. The nodes in the internet need to help each other by exchanging information. After each node has created its vector, it sends a copy of the vector to all its immediate neighbors. After a node receives a distance vector from a neighbor, it updates distance vector using which Bellman-Ford equation. So it updates using Bellman-Ford equation, the second case. Then we need to understand what we need to update. Not only least cost, but n of them, in which n is the number of nodes in the internet. Like for example, if we are using a program, we can do this using a loop. If we are showing the concept on paper, we can show the whole vector instead of n separate equation. So we show the whole vector instead of seven equations for each update, which has been shown in this figure. See here, updating distance vectors. See how the update has been done. So update has to be done using Bellman-Ford equation, the second case. So you show here, B is equal to minimum of B vector comma 2 plus A vector, where that bracket shows the whole vector. A is first event, B receives a copy of A's vector. So A's vector, what is old A, B, then new B. See, you can see D was already infinity in old, but D has become 5 in new. Okay, using Bellman-Ford equation. has to be updated. Okay, when it receives a distance vector from its neighbor, like this way it has to be updated. Here you see, old b had infinity from e with, but now it has become x because of updating using Bellman-Ford equation. Second event, b receives a copy of e's vector. Okay, so this way we have to go on updating. Is it clear? How to? So is it clear now? So what happens in the first event? Node A has sent its vector to node B. So node B updates its vector using the cos CBA is equal to 2. In the second event, node E has sent its vector to node B. Node B updates its vector using the cos CA is equal to 4. So after the first event, after this first event, node B has one improvement in its vector. Its least cost to node D has changed from infinity to 5 via node A. So I told you, from infinity has changed to 5. You can see here. So you can see here, no? So here you can see. Here you can see which has got changed. So you can see this D. It has. So you can see here, no, D. It has got changed from infinity to 5. Okay. See that D line. Okay. Is it clear? So is it clear now? So is it clear? Now we'll see about the distance vector routing algorithm. So we can give a simplified pseudocode for the distance vector routing algorithm which has been shown in this table. The algorithm is run by its node independently and asynchronously. So first create initial vectors for the node. Okay, initial vectors for the node. Then d myself is equal to 0. Okay, then line 5 for y is equal to 1 to n. Then if y is a neighbor, d of y is equal to c myself y, else d of y is equal to infinity. Then send vector d1 comma d2 up to dn to all neighbors. Then next, update, improve the vector with vector received from a neighbor, then repeat forever. Then wait for a vector dw from a neighbor w or any change in the link for y is equal to 1 to n. Then you can see d of y is equal to min of dy c myself w plus dw y. If any change in the vector, send vector d1, d2, dn to all neighbors, end of vector. So whatever are these lines 4 to 11, initialize the vector for the nodes. Initialize the vectors for the node. Then lines 14 to 23 shows how the vector can be updated after receiving a vector from the immediate neighbor. Then for loop in lines 17 to 20 allows all entries cells in the vector to be updated after receiving a new vector. Line 12, node sends its vector after being initialized. Line 22, after it is being updated. So this is how is a distance vector routing algorithm. Next we'll see count to infinity. So whatever is a problem with distance vector routing is any decrease in cost, that is good news, propagates quickly, but any increase in cost, which is bad news, will propagate slowly. So for a routing protocol to work properly, if a link is broken, every other node should be aware of it immediately, but this takes some time in distance vector routing. So this problem is referred to as count to infinity. Sometimes it may take several updates also. So now we'll see two node loop. So one example of count to infinity is a two node loop problem. So to understand this problem, we'll take a system. So this is a system. So this is a system. So this is a system for so this figure shows a system with three nodes. Okay, three nodes. Only the portions of forwarding table is needed for our discussion. At the beginning, both nodes A and B know how to reach node X. So how many nodes? Three nodes, A, B and X. Okay, how to? So both nodes A and B know how to reach node X. But suddenly the link between A and X fails. Suddenly the link between A and X fails. Node A changes its table. Node A changes its table. If A can send its table to B immediately, then everything is fine. But what happens? However, the system becomes unstable if B sends its forwarding table to A before receiving A's forwarding table. So, node A receives the update and assuming that B has found a way to reach X, immediately updates its forwarding table. Now A sends its new update to B. B thinks that something has been changed around A and updates its forwarding table. So whatever is the cost of reaching X increases gradually till it reaches infinity. Till it is. So what happens at this moment is both A and B know that X cannot be reached. So however, during this time the system is not stable. So stability is lost. So node A thinks that the route to X is via B. Node B thinks that the route to X is via A. So if A receives a packet destined for X, the packet goes to B and then comes back to A. So similarly, if B receives a packet destined for X, it goes to A and comes back. So what happens is the packets bounce between A and B, thus creating a two node loop problem. Then this problem is an example of count to infinity, which is two node loop problem. Then there are several solutions being proposed for instability of this kind. So the system has become unstable. So there are several solutions to this instability problem. So the first solution is known as split horizon. Okay, so this is a solution to instability which is called as split horizon. So what is there in this strategy is that instead of flooding the table through each interface, each node sends only part of its table through each interface. So node B thinks that the optimum route to reach X is via A, but it does not need to advertise this piece of information to A. So information has come from A. Thus, it takes information from A, modifies it, and sending it back to node A is what creates a confusion. So there arises confusion. Then what node B does is it eliminates the last line of its forwarding table before it sends to A. Then node A in this case keeps the value of infinity as the distance to X. Later when node A sends its forwarding table to B, then node B also corrects its forwarding table. So after the first update has taken place, the system now becomes stable. So both node A and node B know that X is not reachable. So after first update, the system becomes stable. Both node A and node B know that X is not reachable. So we are going to study one more strategy, poise reverse. Why we have to study is first we'll see what is the drawback of split horizon strategy. So split horizon, whatever I have told just now, has one drawback. What is it? The corresponding protocol uses a timer, and if there is no news about a route, then that node deletes the route from its table. Then when node B in the previous scenario eliminates the route to X from its advertisement to A, node A cannot guess whether this is due to the split horizon strategy or because has not received any news about X recently. So they have introduced this poise reverse strategy. In this strategy, B, whatever is that node B, can still advertise a value for X. But if the source of information is A, it can replace the distance with infinity as a warning. So do not use this value. What I know about this route comes from you. Then third one is 3-node instability. So whatever is a 2-node instability, it is possible to avoid in this case using split horizon when it is combined with poison reverse. So the two previous approaches, strategies will be combined to avoid instability of 2-node. However, if the instability is between 3 nodes, stability cannot be guaranteed. So stability cannot be guaranteed if it is between the 3 nodes. Next we'll see about link state routing. So whatever is the routing algorithm. So next we'll go for link state routing. So whatever is a routing algorithm that directly follows our discussion for creating least cost trees and forwarding tables is least cost routing. So a routing algorithm which directly follows for creating least cost trees and forwarding tables is least cost LS routing. So whatever is this method uses the term link state to define the characteristic of a link. Characteristic of a link which is an edge that represents a network in the internet. So in this algorithm, whatever is a cost associated with an edge defines the state of the link. Links with lower cost are preferred to links with higher cost. So if the cost of a link is infinity, it means that the link does not exist or has been broken. So next we'll see about link state database LSDB. In order to create a least cost tree, With this method, link state routing, each node needs to have a complete map of the network, meaning that it needs to know the state of each link. Then, whatever is a collection of states for all links is called link state database LSDB. Then, there is only one LSDB for the whole internet. Each node needs to have a duplicate of it to be able to create the least cost tree. So we'll take an example which is going to show the example of an LSDB for the graph. The LSDB can be represented as a two-dimensional array. You can see here, no? This is an example of a link state database which can be represented as a two-dimensional array which is in a matrix in which value of each cell defines the cost of the corresponding link. So you can see it is a two-dimensional array. Okay, you can see. So I have shown entries A with respect to A 0 when it is for B 2, C is not directly connected infinity, D 3, E not directly connected infinity, F not directly infinity, G not directly infinity. Similarly, when you go for B, A is 2, B as it is with respect to B is 0, C 5, it has been shown B to C, then B to D, B to D is no connection direct, so infinity, E is 4 as B to E is 4, F infinity and G infinity as not directly connected. Then the question arises is how each node can create this LSDB that contains information about the whole internet. So this could be done by a process so called flooding. So what is this flooding? We'll see. Each node can send some greeting messages to all its immediate neighbors. Who are the immediate neighbors? It can send greeting messages, which immediate neighbors means those nodes. Immediate neighbors means those nodes to which it is connected directly, to collect two pieces of information for each neighboring node: the identity of the node and the cost of the link. The combination of these two pieces of information is called LS packet, that is LSP. The combination of what are the two pieces of information? The identity of the node and the cost of link. The combination of these two pieces of information is called LS packet, which is LSP. Then LSP is sent out of each interface, which has been shown in this figure. So you can see which has been shown in this figure. Okay, figure for the internet structure, you can see that. So when a node receives an LSP from one of its interfaces, it compares the LSP with the copy it may already have. Okay, already have. If the newly arrived LSP is older than the one it has, which is found by checking the sequence number, then what happens is it discards the LSP. If it is newer or the first one received, the node discards the old LSP if this one and keeps the received. So in this way it then sends a copy of it out of each interface except the one from which the packet arrived. So this guarantees that flooding stops somewhere in the network where a node has only one interface. So then there is need to have conveys mechanism after receiving all new LSPs. Each node creates a comprehensive LSDB. So you can see this comprehensive LSDB has been created, formed. This LSDB is same for each node and shows a whole map of the internet. So you can see it shows a whole map of the internet. Okay, whole map of the internet. So a node can make the whole map if it needs to using this. Then this can be compared the link state routing algorithm with distance vector routing algorithm. So whatever is this distance vector routing algorithm, in this each router tells its neighbor what it knows about the whole internet. So in the link state routing algorithm, each router tells the whole internet what it knows about its neighbors. So next we'll see about formation of least cost trees. How to have formation of least cost trees. So to create formation of least cost trees, okay, formation of least cost trees. To create a least cost tree for itself using shared LSDB, each node needs to run the famous Digitraz algorithm. So what is this algorithm? It is an iterative algorithm which uses the following steps. So iterative algorithm. 1. The node chooses itself as the root of the tree. Okay. The node chooses itself as the root of the tree, creating a tree with a single node, and sets the total cost of each node based on information in the LSD. Okay, this algorithm, iterative algorithm, first step, the node chooses itself as the root of the tree, creating a tree with a single node, and sets the total cost of each node based on information in the LSTP. Second, the node selects one node among all nodes not in the tree which is closest to the root and adds this to the tree. So after this node has been added to the tree, the cost of all other nodes not in the tree needs to be updated. Because the paths may have been changed. The third step is the node repeats step 2 until all nodes are added to the tree. So these are the 3 steps. Finally, create the least cost tree. So there is an algorithm. We'll see that algorithm. So you can see Dijkstra's algorithm. First, initialization in the flower base. Tree is equal to root. Tree is made only of the root. Then for y is equal to 1 to n, for y is equal to 1 to n if n is the number of nodes. So what does n represent? Number of nodes. What does n represent? Number of nodes. Okay, number of nodes. If y is the root, then d of y is equal to 0, because d of y is shortest distance from root to node y. Else, if y is a neighbor, then d of y is equal to c of root of y. So the c of x, y is cost between nodes x and y in LSTP. Else, d of y is equal to infinity if y is not a neighbor. Okay, then calculation. Repeat. Find a node w with w minimum among all nodes not in the tree. So which are nodes not in the tree? Find minimum. A node w with the w minimum among all nodes not in the tree. Tree is equal to tree union w. Add w to tree. Then update distance for all neighbors of W. For every node X which is a neighbor of W and not in the tree, d of x is equal to min of d of x comma d of W plus c of W x, okay, until all nodes included in the tree. So this is, so there are numbers shown, lines, these whatever are one here shown in this black, they are line numbers. So lines 4 to, so you can see this is line number 4. You can see line number 4 here. You see this is line number 4. You can see here line number 4. Okay, line number 4 to 13. This is 13. Implement step 1 in the algorithm. Lines 16 to 23. 23 is here. 23 is here, you can see. You can see. Line number 23 is here below. Okay, 23, it represents step 2 in the, step 2 is repeated until all nodes are added. So this is how, okay, shows formation of least cost tree. So this figure shows the formation of least cost tree for the graph of this figure previous. This is using Dijkstra's algorithm. So using Dijkstra's algorithm, this is a least cost tree. So you can see the dark circle root node, then this node in the path, then node which is inside white, this is gray white, not no in the path, then potential path. Okay, so this is first iteration. Okay, this is second iteration, this is third iteration, this is iteration 4, then this is iteration 5, then this is iteration 6. Okay, then 6 iterations to find the least cost tree after initializations. So we'll see about path vector routing. So whatever are both link state and distance vector routing are based on the least cost goal. Okay, but there are instances where this goal is not the priority. For example, assume that there are some routers in the internet that a sender wants to prevent its packets from going through. For example, there is an organization in that a router which is belonging to this organization does not provide enough security. Enough security okay, enough security, which does not provide enough security, okay, enough security, or it may belong to a commercial driver of the sender, then it might inspect the packets from obtaining information. But then whatever is this least cost algorithm does not prevent a packet from passing through an area when that area is in the least cost path. So putting it in another form, the least cost goal applied by LS or DV routing does not allow a sender to apply specific policies to be to the route a packet may take. So aside from safety and security, then there are occasions where the goal of routing is merely reachable to allow the packet to reach its destination more efficiently without assigning cost to the route. So in order to respond to these demands, there is one more third routing algorithm, so called path vector PV routing, which has been devised. So this, whatever is this path vector routing, does not have the drawback of either least LS or link state or distance vector routing, because it is not based on least cost routing. How the best route is determined is that the source will use a policy it imposes on the route. That is, the source can control the path. So path vector routing is not actually used in an internet, but it has been designed to route a packet between ISPs. So we'll see how it is in the next lecture. I'll stop here.